Hey guys, my name's Bando. This is Brexit Bando. Sorry if I'm not quite as loud and animated. I've got quite a bad headache today, so I'm actually off sick because I was up all night with like stabbing pains in my eye, which is really fun. So people asked me to do a video on the Tau range, what I'd like to see maybe changed about it, things I'd like to see added, and yeah, I thought I'd do that. So I collected Tau. Shortly after they came out the first time, and I never had a particularly large Tau collection. The colour scheme was kind of an olive green with black and light blue. Kind of a colour scheme I'd like to go back to, maybe do again at some point. And a close friend of mine, he collects Tau, although he doesn't get enough time to paint and model nowadays. I'd love to get him to really get back into the hobby a bit more and get his stuff featured on the channel at some point. So I thought I'd go through the range like we did with the Dark Eldar yesterday and just have a look at it. So I'll start with what I think is pretty good about the range, and to me the Combat Patrol is kind of the epitome of what I think a Combat Patrol should be. It is something where you have something to start collecting a force. For me, Combat Patrols, start collecting boxes, these sorts of things, they need to fit two niches. To me, they need to be something that gives you a basic troops choice, and then something of flavour for that unit, or unit for the army. So, for the Tau, the fact that this gives you a lot of Fire Warriors, a lot of Pathfinders is great. You've got the vehicle in there, and you've got a battle suit is absolutely perfect. The other thing that I think the Combat Patrols really need to do is kind of be a way for you to buy in bulk, almost. For these guys, the fact that you can get a squad of Fire Warriors and a Devilfish is great. You know, it helps you. You know, because a lot of people, if you want to run these things, it gets expensive really fast to start buying large numbers of troops and transports. And I think bundling those things together is a great thing, because more people are going to do it, more people are going to expand their forces if they can just simply get a better deal. Now, the downside of this, obviously, having the commander in there means you don't generally need to buy this more, and I'd rather be in a position where I don't have to start fleecing things on eBay just because I'm not going to need them. However, you know, the commander is a good model, and, you know, if this was how you were going to be building your army, was buying lots of this box set, you could always run them all as oversized crisis battle suits, which would be pretty cool. So this is okay. I don't mind this set. Again, the price is horrendous. These box sets should not be £100. Easily, these should not. These should be 75 tops. So the next one I'm going to look at is Commander Farsight, and Farsight I like as a model. It's definitely a glow up from his previous model, and yeah, I think it's really nice. I like the design, I like the level of tech, I like the lines of the model. This one is a little static in its pose. It's kind of a bit difficult to kind of repose the legs as much, but it's a character they usually monopose anyway. But I like this, I like how the armour sort of apes the billowy kind of silk trousers of the samurai. That's kind of cool. I like that. I like the style of the head. I'm a big fan of the game Armored Core. I have been since its original inception on the PlayStation 1, and this style of helmet is very similar to a lot of the designs in that. I only gripe with the Farsight model really is his sword. I wish his sword was bigger. In some of the old artwork for him, you see the sword seems a lot bigger, and I just think it would be cool if it was just maybe an inch or so longer. Dark Strider, is a relatively new-ish character, and I think he was a pretty good glow up for the character. He doesn't change anything. He's not got any overly dramatic details. He still fits in with the unit he is supposed to be representing, so I like that. And I wish we got more infantry characters for the Tau. The broadside battlesuit, I think, is a fantastic kit. The only bit I don't like about the broadside is the missile loadout. I think the missile loadout looks silly. It's very toyish. It reminds me a lot of like those early 2000 toys where like all the subtlety went out the window and everything was just sort of slightly big and chunky and thing. But then the railgun version looks great, and you know I can see these guys sort of scrambling forward and taking a fire position to bring heavy weapons to bear. I think that's fantastic. I just think the missile launcher set needs updating. And actually, I think bringing it in line with this and making it a really big over-the-shoulder rocket launcher he's carrying, while probably not the most practical thing in realism, but at the end of the day, neither is lugging around a giant railgun. Like, you know, the shows like Pat Labor, where the giant robots are carrying just upscaled shotguns and revolvers. I think that would be cool. Like a giant kind of bazooka style weapon, I think would fit and just look a bit cooler for these guys. The Pathfinders. I like the Pathfinders. The transition from metal to plastic went really, really well for them, and they got a good selection of kit in there. I just think we need to, you know, there's bits extra. The Sniper Tau drone team needs to get added into this kit, and yeah, I just think that, you know, we need a little bit more to them. Maybe give them just some more Pathfindery stuff. Maybe new vehicles, maybe new squads and loadouts. Now, the Tau Empire Commander is a lovely kit. This is what battlesuits should be. With the level of posability in this kit and the sheer number of options, it's fantastic. This is kind of the standard, and frankly, when you build this and then you go to build the Crisis suits, it's a little bit of a letdown. This is what the Crisis suit should be, in my opinion. The only issue I have kind of with this kit is the price. As a commander unit, I just think it's a bit too much. It's a single model, £30 tops, really, and that's still pushing it in my mind. I know, you know, they have a price point, but my big complaint's always going to be the price with a lot of these models, because they just simply are not worth the money that they're asking for them now. But this, pretty spot on for what I like. The only thing I would change about this kit, possibly, is give it some detailing to the front, so you can open it up and we can see the pilot inside. That would really be the only thing I would like to change with the kit. The XV8 Crisis suits, they've had a slight update since their original release, but it's not too much. The posability on them is still not great. I would like to see the arms and the legs being more like the Contemptor, more like, you know, the Commander. Let us pose these, you know. It's not difficult to kind of give us a bit more posability in these legs at all. And yeah, I just think it would be nice to get a bit more dynamism in them. The pack is heavily padded with drones. I like that they come in a set of 3. I really do. I think that's great. For these sorts of things, kits like this, they need to be in multiples. And yeah, artistically, I don't like the hands. I wish the hands were more like the Commander. So yeah, Crisis suits, they just need a bit of a buff, a bit of a beautification. Maybe make them just slightly bigger. Personally, yeah. The KV-128 Stormsurge. Now, I am not a big fan of this model. I like kind of what it represents, that it is just a really heavy mech. I just don't like the artistic style that it's gone for. I just think it needs arms. Robots need arms, in my opinion. Sorry. One of my big complaints on here is this bit here, where you can see the crew, and I don't know if there's a colour picture bit of it. Doesn't look like it. No. But yeah, basically in the top here you can see into the crew compartment, and it's like an open topped vehicle, and I think that's a bit dumb. You're making a heavy weapons, vehicle platform. There is no reason not to put a cover over this bit to keep your crew safe. Yeah, so this model, give it some arms, change the head area ish to cover it up a bit more, and I think it would be much better. But as is, I think it just needs arms for balancing. Like, there's so much stuff piling down here that it looks a bit silly. Put it up on the shoulders, give it arms, and make it more of a sort of stout, low gravity, centre of gravity kind of XV8 sort of thing. The Skyray gunship, and by sort of extension all of the Hammerhead-esque and Devilfish kind of platform, I think are absolutely fine. I think the design is fantastic on them. It's nice and iconic. It clearly shows, what it's supposed to be. There's no kind of it's not like something like the Falcon Grav tank where you look at it and it doesn't. Is it a tank? Is it a transport? It's not quite clear. A lot of the time, the size of the gun on this, you know what it is, and I like it. I like it. The only thing, the sprues need recutting, the molds need remaking, because there's so much wasted space here. Yeah, just loads of it. I'll come back to these because I'm going to talk about some of the old Forge World variants as well. The AX-39 Sunshark Bomber is an interesting kit by design. I just think that certain parts of it, like this missile pod at the back, and this very weird kind of almost like Lizardmen-esque power bit at the back, just seem off. It just doesn't aesthetically sort of merge, in my opinion, with the existing kind of aesthetic. Like, cut all of this out and flare these wings maybe up so they're at a 45-degree angle coming up this way, and lose the missiles on the back, and it would look a lot more like a Tau vehicle. I just think that a lot of this extra stuff at the back is unneeded. Like, these bits, they're just not needed, and they just make it look bad. There's like, because this flow here is good. This breaks that line and makes it a bit weird. I think actually looking at it, flip it round. Have the front here, this is the cockpit, and have the wings at the back. I think would look a lot better. Yeah, in fact, looking at it like that, yeah, definitely flip it round into like a hammerhead shark kind of thing with the front. I think would look a lot better as a vehicle, in my opinion, personally. The Plastic Ethereal is a model I cannot stand, and I know a lot of Tau players don't like it because they have multiples of it. I think it's a bad model. I think it doesn't even look like an Ethereal if you compare it to a lot of the older Ethereals. It almost looks more like a fire warrior, just wearing a skirt. Go back to the kind of robe-wearing aristocrat, very much bureaucratic kind of, functionary look of the Ethereals. And I think bringing in, is it Anvar was the name of the special character, would be better. Give him his nice big floating chair, so Master Chief can climb on it and beat him to death again. Yeah, I just think this is a bad model. So I think this needs replacing with a more classic style, Ethereal. So back onto the Forge World stuff. There's a lot of Tau battlesuits that Forge World created, and a lot of Tau players don't know this because they kind of went out the window very quickly. This one was Shazo Relar, and I think this is a great design of a battlesuit. I'd like to see more characters, more interesting battle suits brought back into 40k, with different styles, different points of view, different sort of uses, you know. And I really like things like this. There's a couple of them. There's another one. They were just very different, and I just think that they would be really cool to bring in. You know, give us a lot of expansion to the faction. You know, Farsight's cool. Oh yeah, we've got this rogue kind of, you know, commander who's defying the Ethereals. Well, where's the Ethereals kind of arbiter? Where's their answer to Farsight? Give us like their version of Farsight, who's dogmatically loyal to them. Where's, you know, I know we've got Shadow Sun, but I think Shadow Sun's kind of played out now. She's had 2 or 3 models now. I don't think really we need to see any more of her. Like, just add another one. Like, adding new characters in doesn't really hurt anything. Back onto the Hammerhead with Forge World. I think it would be nice to see an update to the Hammerhead platform that gives it just more options. And there were a couple from Forge World, and it would be nice to see them again. Nice and simple, you know. You just have your Hammerhead. You'd have your, you know, fusion cannons, your plasma rifle, classic cannon version. There's another one with missile launchers as well. There's like the small missiles, not the big ones that are on the one we looked at earlier. I just think that give people more, and obviously, you know, in a perfect world, Bando 40k would have options. You'd be paying points for them, so there's a reason to take, you know, the plasma cannon version over the railgun version. And I'm not trying to undersell the railgun. You know, the railgun version is fantastic and should be one of the biggest and scariest guns in the game, in my opinion. But you need the middle ground. You need the cheap option, in my opinion, because we need tactical flexibility and, you know, modelling flexibility. The Remora drones, I think, should make a comeback. A 2-unit plastic kit for this would be great. It fits the aesthetic better than the existing flyer, better than, what was it, the AX39. I think the Remoras would look better, and I just think that, you know, people, you know, I think people would like having a fast-moving, like heavy, like stealth fighter drone, and I think they just look fantastic. Done that one. These guys, the XV-15s. We see these quite regularly in a lot of the animations, and I'm not a big fan of the current stealth drones. I would like to see these guys come back as an addition to the stealth lineup, and probably come in as a kill team. But yeah, I think, you know, they look cool. The idea of them being a lighter, you know, faster moving stealth battle suit, and then you have the, was it XV-15s? I can't remember which one they are. Stealth battle suit. Do they not have a number anymore? Okay, they don't have a number. Huh. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of these guys. They got like weird bulbous chins that just kind of gross me out a bit. Yeah, I just think they're an older kit that kind of needs a big update. Plus, they were in like every box set. These guys are just shoved in. So I'd like to see those guys get updated, and also these guys come back in as like a kill team with it, you know, options. Take the big ones to be your stealth heavy weapons kind of guys, and these guys be your stealth smaller, you know, anti-infantry, securing objectives, that sort of thing. Another battle suit, really interesting weapons. You know, I like the really big battle suits they do, the Forge World massive battle suits. I'm going to keep calling it Forge World, you know. Forge World hasn't existed for a long time now, and, you know, might as well just keep talking about it. Like, the Kroot stuff I'm not going to touch on. Kroot's fine. Yeah, the KX-139 Supremacy. This bad boy. Absolutely fire. Really fantastic. Really over the top size of things, and yeah, that's you know what I mean. You know, it needs arms, because big robots should have arms. That's what the 128 should be. Sniper drones, I want to see updated. I like this set. I like this idea of this set. And then if we come back here, and then lastly was the other drone or other battle suit. So in all, I just think more battle suits, different styles, different roles for them, and then just a few updates to add to the kind of posability of a lot of the kits would be mostly what I'd like to see changed about this. There's a few aesthetical changes, you know, the flyer I'm not a big fan of. I like the Ghost Kill. I think the Ghost Kill's a good looking kit personally. Yeah. Other than that, maybe more auxiliaries. You know, there's supposed to be so many auxiliary races in the Tau Empire. It would be nice to see more of them. We just, you know, I get we can't because there is a limited amount of space in a roster. But it would be nice. Maybe something different for the Vespid, you know, give us a different unit for the Vespid as well. I'd like to see a bigger Piranha. I'd like to see one that can carry like an open-topped Devilfish. Somewhere between a Devilfish and a Piranha for carrying a squad of Pathfinders. That would be something quite cool. Really? £12 for 2 plastic drones. That's egregious. That is just criminal. That's awful. Oh wow, no, not cool. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd get rid of that for 12. You should. 12 quid. You should be getting 10 of those things. That's so bad. Yeah, I mean, that's about all I can say, guys. There's not much more. They've stopped selling the Manta? Have they? Oh, that's that. They have. Oh, wow. Okay, there you go. There's a big one. Bring back the Manta in plastic. Stop being cowards. The Tiger Shark is kind of cool. Can't even buy that one even anymore. Bring back the dropship as well. They had a I can't remember what it was called, but it was this great big square dropship from the Fire Warrior game. That would be a good one to bring back as well. So yeah, that's my thoughts on the Tau, guys. They're a pretty solid range. I just think they need a bit of polish here and there, and a bit of expansion to some of the more classic units. Let me know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Is there something you'd like to see? Especially if you're a Tau player, I'd like to hear from you guys. Not just rule changes. Rule changes are easy. They're just numbers on a spreadsheet. But like from the model range, what do you like to see changed? And as always, guys, if you want to pick up like a combat patrol for the Tau Empire, but don't want to spend £100, go check out Element Games and use my code in the description, and it will double your reward points. Couple of months of buying stuff, you'll be able to pick up some of these things for free. Alright guys, have a great day. As always, I look forward to reading your comments. Speak to you soon. Bye bye.